All we're doing is going through classic games, and as I said in the Atari Classics that I did, I don't think the Classics list has changed that much, regardless of the interface alterations. So, Armored Warriors. Capcom it just happens to not have a lot of the games that I prefer. I think they were a little bit later coming to the game. I don't know all the details when everybody started. I just know that a lot of these games I remember seeing later on. Now, if that's just a matter of that it took them that long to get to where I was, or if they were just a later on company. Black Tiger. Block. Yeah, I never heard of that. That looks like some kind of weird pinball meets Arkanoid. So, and nothing against them, and a lot of them seem to be like sports games or fighting games, and I'm not really into sports games. I had baseball on consoles when my kids were in the house, especially my son. I usually had the current baseball game for whatever console we had in the house. It was PlayStation 2 usually, until he got into it like crazy. But I just sort of held on to my PlayStation 2 with my classics collections and a couple of sports games, and of course Guitar Hero and Battlefront 2, the original one, 2005. Commando. I played Commando. But when I look at Commando, I see a sort of a better graphical version of Frontline. But they already did, in my opinion, a better job with not Smash TV. What was the outdoor version of Smash TV? I forget what it is right now. I've lost. It's on my list to do for my plays. Capcom Sports. Captain. These are hard to read. Captain Commando. Rolling in the Seas. Airwing, just another. These vertical and horizontal shooters, they just all look the same to me, and that's coming from somebody that loved Galaga, right? You talk about something looking the same. I understand that, but Galaga was my brand. It was my taste. Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons Shadow over was never into that. The D&D. My son's. He's not into Dungeons and Dragons. He's into LARPing, live action role play, and boy, there's a difference. It's like train collectors versus train chasers. Don't get them confused, because whoever does one or the other will be quick to point out what they do and how it's different from the other thing. Echo Fighters. Just Gradius, Radius. They remind me of these games. Final Fight. I saw it. I never played it. Like Bad Dudes, all of the beat 'em up games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Turtles in Time. I never did any of that. Ghosts and Goblins, again. This is just like, it was like, well, I already saw this in Mario, and I know I'm wrong about that. It's just these kind of games are not my thing. So I look at this and I'm like, well, they already did Mario, they already did Sonic, they already did Crash Bandicoot. It's just all of that. And then, of course, to prove my point, there's Ghouls and Ghosts. Oh, that was Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts. Okay. Street Fighter 2, Hyper Street Fighter 2, JoJo. I'm probably gonna do my top 3 favorites from each of these lists, and I'm gonna play them, and then probably also play 3 that I've never played before. On this one, I could do 10 videos like that, because a lot of these. Like, I look at this and I see this as, like, this reminds me of Philios, which is a game I'll probably play. It was an obscure game. It probably wasn't that obscure, but it was sort of like a Japanese game that is part of MAME. But I like it a lot better, even though I don't normally like games like that. Magic Sword, Marvel Superheroes. Again, Marvel, the Capcom versus Marvel. I know all that stuff is super, super, super popular. Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. I mean, I know. Marvel versus Capcom. And the fact that not only did I not know who, yeah, oh, that's right, I remember this. There are like, people that at the altar of Marvel versus Capcom going, who is this, Ethan? Mega Man is just to me, it's just Crash Bandicoot or Mario, just another version of it. I was just never really into that. And I wonder if I was a little bit younger and those platform games on the consoles, and I don't even know if you call them platform games, that's how much I know about this stuff, what Mario is or what Sonic is. I watched my kids play them. I watched my step-sibs play the Mario stuff, the earlier stuff, and I watched
Optic Blast.
Nemo. And I watched my children play or my son really. My daughter played what was there, but she was really never a gamer. Plasma Sword. Yeah, this is the Virtua stuff that I think I liked Sega, not Virtua Fighter, but Virtua Tennis. I loved Virtua Tennis. I never played any sports games, but I dropped a fortune on Virtua Tennis in the arcade. Oh, what a moron. But Virtua On. I found Virtua On, a sit-down version of Virtua On, in some obscure three cabinet arcade in my at college, one of the dining halls at college, and I played a lot in that. And that was fun. That was sort of like an early version of the Grid. The Grid was like, I think, the all-time arcade game. Actually, like three-way Grid or more, but we had three at Just Fun at the mall right before it actually became just a ticket horror game and pool tables and stuff. Slipstream, another racing game. Just not into the racing games, never was. Although, again, when my kids, was it my kids were into Mario Kart? Maybe my kids were into Nintendo. Yeah, my son was into Nintendo. Just not the early 8-bit version, the NES stuff. I don't know, the bits and the bytes and all of that stuff. So the Star Gladiator, again, that's the same kind of graphics that you saw that I don't know what they're called, but that you saw in the Virtua Tennis, as opposed to like this, which is more kind of cartoony graphics to me. Street Fighter Alpha 2. Alpha. More Street Fighter. Checking my GoPro to make sure it's still recording. Lots of Street Fighter. Yeah, that was Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. I know that this is big because I know Arcade 1-Up, or is it? Let's see, now I'm going to hear about that too, because one of the 3/4 scale does a champion, or maybe they don't. I don't know. But leave your comments below. Looking for comments. Lots of Street Fighter, and I don't think I've ever played Street Fighter. Even dropped a quarter in it just because it was the only machine there. And there were games like that, man. You had to really. That was like when at the end of a long drinking night, and you're digging out the cooking sherry. Those kind of games. While you're waiting for your slice of pizza. Well, I guess this looks like something. We'll drop a quarter in it and we're still on Street Fighter, Super Street Fighter. Never played Street Fighter. Tech Romancer. The other fun thing is some of the ways that some of these titles translate. Street Rumbler. Wow. I really recognize very, very little of these games. Union Squadron. I do recognize that. But it literally might be from since I got my MAME system. Vampire Savior! Hot Vampire Savior. Varth Operation Thunderstorm. If I'm going too fast or too slow, I'm sorry. I apologize. Willow. Was never into Willow, never saw the movie even. Or what I guess is not the very good. People aren't liking the new series. And ended with X-Men, Children of the Atom. Never played any X-Men games. None of these beat 'em ups. These licensed games were so huge. I remember seeing crowds sitting around these machines, standing around these machines watching them. Never even Never laid a quarter on one of those screens. Capcom Classics.